The love triangle grows more painful. August worries about his meeting with the Queen, and Sara's feelings for August intensify. Hello, entertainment enthusiasts. This is Ray, and this is the Fandom Realm. And today I'm reviewing Episode 3 of Season 2 of Young Royals. Now just remember, this is a spoiler review, so just be warned. As Episode 3 opens, it looks like Wilhelm is taking his sessions with the psychologist more seriously, as he is doing meditation in order to help keep his emotions in check with everything that's going on. Meanwhile, August is still worried about being summoned by the Queen, as he thinks he's going to be reprimanded or worse about the sex tape. So he's talking to his stepdad lawyer about the consequences of releasing that tape of Wilhelm and Simone, which could lead to prosecution. The situation with Simone and Wilhelm is just painful to watch because it's obvious they still have feelings for each other, but they just can't figure things out. Simone isn't exactly sure how he is feeling about Marcus because he likes him, but he just can't seem to fall in love with him. Duh. And his friends aren't helping the matter either because they think Wilhelm is bad for Simone, and you can't blame them in that situation. They're just trying to be really supportive of him. Wilhelm is also talking briefly with Felice about Simone and Marcus, and then he moves on to a scene where he's talking to his therapist about the pressure and the loneliness he feels as Crown Prince and losing his brother. And we're going to basically understand after this session that Eric was Wilhelm's connection to leading a normal life. And now that that has been taken away from him, that connection's been taken away from him, he isn't coping well with that. Wilhelm's finally going to confront Simone about Marcus, and Simone admits he is hanging out with Marcus, but he assures Wilhelm they are not together. Wilhelm wanted honesty out of Simone at this point, and it seems like he got it. What he does with it, we're still yet to see. Meanwhile, the house and the rowing team are still having to deal with Vincent. Of course, we know they elected Vincent to replace August as prefect, basically at Wilhelm's urging. And we're starting to see the effects of that. We also see that August is starting to struggle with his reduced status in the house. That's actually going to end up giving him more time to focus on this budding relationship with Sara. Simone speaks to Marcus, and they're going to discuss the relationship. Simone basically tells him that he's not ready for romance, he's not ready for anything really serious, and he's not sure if he ever will be, due to all the drama that has been going on. Marcus is completely understanding, or at least he seems to be, and he, of course, tells Simone he knows what happened, he knows about the video, and he insists that, unlike Wilhelm, Marcus would never hurt him. August is going to open up to Sara that the Queen wants to talk to him about the video and that he's concerned about it. He's afraid of losing everything, and we're going to get to see some intimate moments here between Sara and August. Sarah's going to start it out. She sort of lightly touches August, and it's just showing a little more intimacy between these two characters. Now, in this case, that intimacy is going to lead to the duo hooking up. Sarah's going to reassure August that he's not a bad person and tries to keep the intimacy as emotionally connected between them as she can. Now, we're going to skip on to the rowing competition everybody's been hyping up about, and it turns out that the competition is actually not against another school, but against another team at the school. I'm starting to realize that we are only looking at one house at Halershka. They seem to have different houses. But it's going to be a very heated competition. This house they have never lost to. And, of course, Vincent's going to make sure everybody knows that. And they're being watched by this crowd of students, but they're going to lose. And they're going to lose partially because, at least it looks like, Simone got something wrong when they were changing over. When Vincent went to sit down, Simone was changing the seat, and something happened, and it was in the wrong position. And of course, everybody's going to blame Simone. It looked like he may have been distracted by Marcus, who was there watching the competition. And of course, as the scene comes to an end, Wilhelm is going to see Marcus kiss Simone. Now, as the episode ends, August finally meets with the Queen for a talk, and August is immediately apologetic. The Queen dismisses the apology and tells him that what he did was extremely damaging to the royal family. But then she's going to reveal why she really wanted to talk to him. She's going to bring up Wilhelm's erratic behavior and that the royal court is worried about whether he can take the pressure of the throne and that they need a backup plan. And that backup plan is August, who is next in line for the throne. She gives August a copy of the speech in case Wilhelm can't do it at the celebration at the end of the school year. But she does, during the conversation, make it known that she still totally supports Wilhelm. Meanwhile, we go back to Wilhelm's room, and Felice is hanging out there with him, and things unexpectedly and surprisingly start to get close and intimate. Wilhelm starts caressing her hair. She's holding him. They're sort of holding each other. This is going to lead to some kissing, and this just is not helping Wilhelm out. He's in such an emotional and confusing place. This is just a hard situation for him. He's getting some contact. He's getting someone there with him, and he's not reacting like he probably should, but he's reacting, I think, in a natural type way when things are hurting. And as things get more and more and more heated, and we start wondering where this is going to go, the door bursts open and another student interrupts them, and the episode ends. Now, I just want to give some of my thoughts and reactions about this episode, and the first thing I just want to go to is this idea of the Queen still supporting Wilhelm. And I think after the first season, they probably had written the Queen as being very hard and not understanding, and she really still is like that. But they're starting to put in, I think, more of this idea that for a queen, the duty is to country and maybe not necessarily just to the family. But I think, she's already been very supportive of Wilhelm in this episode, especially when she told him that once he turned 18, they could get things figured out, but he wasn't old enough to make those decisions yet. In this episode, she makes it quite clear to August that she loves her son and she will always back Wilhelm and be in his corner no matter what. And I thought that was awesome for her to say. And, from the very beginning, the Queen has not really had any big negatives about Wilhelm's sexuality. It's been about the crown and the government and how that might affect the future of the monarchy, which she does have to have a concern about. And so with that, I'm just glad they are showing that she is concerned about Wilhelm. You have the situation where she wants him to go to counseling, and she does understand, and this is where being an adult comes in. She's understanding that Wilhelm has lost Eric. Definitely a much bigger loss than losing this relationship with Simone at the time. And she's just trying to get him through it as best she can, or as best she knows how, because this is very likely how she was treated when she was a younger girl. Another reaction or another thought is it seems like they've really taken a lot of effort in softening August as the villain with his relationship with Sara. And even this fact that he's very worried about these charges. He talks to his stepdad, who he treated awfully at the parent dinner in the first season. And I don't think a lot of people realize, and I may be wrong, but I'm 99% sure that was his stepdad he was talking to, because as I remember, he was a lawyer. But I think this is not a bad thing, trying to soften August a little bit, because those type of villains that you can sort of feel for, are excellent in stories. And I think we all sort of, as much as we hated August at the end of the first season, as this thing's going on, we're sort of feeling for him, maybe just a little. And I think that makes the story even better. Next thing, and I talked about this in, I believe, the last episode in the reactions about modern day problems they're tackling, things like potentially autism, mental health, things like that. Well, also the whole idea of anxiety. While it's not really covered a lot in this episode, we do get to hear Wilhelm talking about his feelings and what's going on to the therapist. And he's in a situation where, we've seen the anxiety, when he's like talking to his mother and he gets up on the desk and he has trouble breathing, and he pats his chest a lot when he's being stressed and he's under anxiety. And again, I really want to commend Young Royals and the director and writers for approaching and handling these topics so well. And finally, oh my, the angst between Wilhelm and Simone. It is so frustrating to watch. But, the frustration between the two characters is that, they're talking to each other. And everybody always says to talk, talk something out. Okay, if you have problems, talk. You'll figure things out. But this is sort of the classic example of people are talking, but neither side is listening. Wilhelm has his background. He's the crown prince. Even if he wasn't the crown prince, he is a prince. He has certain royal duties. He has to be loyal to his family. Then you have Simone. I'm not going to say he's in a poor family, but he's probably lower middle class at the time. And with that, he has his background, and he hears what Wilhelm says, and all Simone sees is a rich, snobby kid when they're talking. And all Wilhelm seems to be seeing is this kid in Simone who can't understand what Wilhelm is going through because he's never experienced it. And, I think we're going to get this for several more episodes at least. And I think that is, the angst is just going to continue to grow, and it's emotional, and it's really hard to watch in a good way. Now, honestly, to go through this episode, I want to give it a grade now, and there were lots of things to like here. I can't think of anything I disliked in this episode. I do think they may have pushed Vincent just a little bit far in being a total jerk, but other than that, there's nothing I think to dislike in this episode. So I'm going to give it an A. It's easily an A episode for me. And with that, thanks for watching this review. Please subscribe to the channel. It will help us out so much. Like the video and comment below. And I'll see you next time here on the Fandom Realm.